What's good, y'all? My name is Rorvis Paradox, aka Docs Brando, and I'd like to welcome you all to another installment of Rorvis Reviews. This is going to be a great episode. I'm just going to be talking about my favorite albums from 1994. So I hope you're excited. I hope you get to learn about albums that you know about, or like learn some more details, things of that nature, as well as just enjoy this episode. Please like, subscribe, share with others. We need to make sure this channel grows so we can still hit the goal of 500 subscribers before the end of the year. With all that being said, let's get into it. Now, the first album I want to talk about is The Diary by Scarface, released January 1st of 1994. Now, this is one of my favorite albums of all time by one of my favorite rappers of all time as well. What I love about Scarface is I think he's one of the greatest lyricists, but he's not he doesn't need, he's one of the great lyricists in the sense that he doesn't need to use multi-syllable words or anything crazy like that way to get his point across. Just the way he says things, the way he's able to put things together is the reason why he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And he's definitely one of the greatest storytelling rappers as well. And that is definitely shown throughout this album. I think this album has such great production that fits him so well. And it's no wonder because he definitely helps out with the production of the album as well. And also shout out to N.O. Joe and Mike Dean. They all just work great together to be able to craft such an excellent album that I think would, back in that day, would have set the tone for the year. What I love, like track wise, is it starts off with a great track run, but before you get to that, Scarface usually starts his album off with an intro and ends it with an outro, and it's just instrumental the whole time, and it just kind of lets you know what the feel of the album you're getting into is going to be like. And this one definitely starts off very eerie, and right after it gets right into it, going to the great track run, starting with The White Sheet. Definitely one of his great rapping performances. Uh, Definitely a great hook on this album. Hook on this track. I mean, and then that goes right into No Tears. Definitely one of the bigger songs off the album. And if you don't know this song, you probably know it if you've seen the movie Office Space, because there's a scene to start the movie where they're trying to get to work and a character is just rapping along to Scarface, and then one of my favorite lines for the song he says as well is I can't talk to my mother, so I talk to my diary. And it's definitely something that's funny in the movie, but it's also relatable to a lot of people. There's just some things you can't talk to anybody else about, but you could talk to yourself about it because you don't want to share those weaknesses or the hardships that you're going through. The next track, Jesse James. Well, before I talk about Jesse James, No Tears is great for another reason. It highlights one of Scarface's great skills when crafting a song, and it's crafting songs with no hook. He can just go on and on, just rapping, and by the time you get to the end song, you just like, oh, there's no hook. It's just him going crazy, and I think that's an amazing skill to have. That goes along with the next song, Jesse James. But the difference between Jesse James and No Tears when it comes to having no hook, he kind of just leads into it, and then the beat will just go on, and that will be the hook. Like, it'll take the hook's place, just the way the song like just starts. The production will play and just gets to a certain moment. That's what the hook will be like, but or it will take the place of having a hook. But he's literally just a great master of that. Jesse James, another great song. And what was cool about this song is that he has a part where he has like a moment where he kind of like screech like he's a rocker, but he took that from one of his influence because he likes rock as well and he plays a guitar, and says that was like kind of like a tribute or like paying homage to Van Halen, which is really interesting to me. But again, nothing but great rapping going on in this track run. Then you get to G's, and it's kind of a slower song compared to the others, but it's trying to get you in pace to the final track of this run that I feel is just phenomenal, and that is I Seen a Man Die. This is one of the greatest storytelling songs ever made. It's so eerie. The production just, puts you into the feeling he's trying to get you, and it's the eeriness And what I love about the song that I found out a few years ago is that he freestyled this. Like this was like just one take. He just like off the dome, and this is one of the best. Like this is one of my favorite songs on the album. It's tied with a track I'll get into later, but this song is just so eerie. Like even with the combined with the music video they made, everything about this is just chef's kiss phenomenal. Like, I can listen to the song on repeat multiple times. Um, just a great rapping performance from Scarface on I Seen a Man Die. Then I get into one of my next favorite songs off the album, Hand of the Dead Body, which features Devin the Dude, Texas legend, as well as another one of my favorite rappers, Ice Cube. Um, just a stellar performance from Face. Like his first two verses, he's just going out of his mind. And what I love about this is the theme of the song is about how the media is portraying like hip hop to be the reason why, a lot of bad things happen. Like people, like it's influenced people to do bad things. And one of his verses that Tupac, Spice One never gave a gun to me. And then another one of my favorite verses goes, he takes a old song and kind of flips it, so it goes a tisket, a tasket, a nigga got his ass kicked, shot in the face by a cop, closed casket. An open in such situation, cop gets got, they want to blame it on my occupation. uh I think this verse is just stellar. I think it represents exactly what he's talking about, as well as how he ends the songs talking about, in each verse talking about how Western movies, gangster movies, the mob, everything else has been influenced by media and shown on television, but they don't get the blame that gangster rap is getting. And he thinks that's not fair. He thinks that's unjust. And what goes into this is just a great hook from Devin the Dude where he goes, nigga, don't believe that song. That nigga's wrong. Gangsters don't live that long. Which is also going into how, even if gangster rap play a role in how people think about how they want to portray themselves, or if they influence them, he wants them to know that that type of lifestyle of being a gangster is not what they don't like. Movies don't show, like, or like the rap stars don't, like, they don't get to highlight like the negatives of that lifestyle of coming from that. So to champion it and not talk about the negative results that can come from that, it's so telling in that song. And then you get a phenomenal feature from Ice Cube, probably my favorite feature from Cube, and he just wraps up the song nicely. Just a 10 out of 10 song. And it's just like with this and I Seen a Man Die, I don't know which one is my favorite song. It's like 1A, 1B. It's like, toss up. It's just great work from Scarface and everyone else on that song. The next song I want to talk about is My Mind Playing Tricks on Me 94. Now, if you know about Scarface, you should know about the Ghetto Boys, the group he started from before he went solo, and their biggest song being My Mind Playing Tricks on Me, of one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time, like top 2 or 3 for me in terms of just like greatness out of hip hop. And he does his own version of it. And before I get into that, I gotta say, for My Playing Tricks on Me, he wrote somebody else's verse for his group mate. So like most of the song is really his. So when you get to his version, it's so different. It's more upbeat in sense, but it's definitely, you can hear there's similarities to it, but it's definitely been tweaked. And that's why I'm glad he did that instead of just rapping over the same beat. That would have been very annoying and it wouldn't have been as great as it could have been. And he does great doing his own version. Now, I do like the original version, a lot more, of course, but I think this is just a great piece to have on his album. Uh, then the last song I want to talk about is The Diary. Again, another song with no hook. It's just him just barring up and just spazzing on the track. Um, and it's just so upbeat and in your face that, I like sock a nigga in his face type of music. But overall, I love this album so much. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do out of 10 ratings for these albums, and this is a clear 10 out of 10 to me. It's a perfect album in my opinion. I love every single track. This is songs I grew up on, so there's definitely some bias, but this is just pure perfection from Face Mob. Now, the next album I want to talk about is Illmatic by Nas, released April 19th of the 1994. Uh, this is a hip hop staple. This is many people's greatest album of all time. Do I share those same sentiments? No, but I understand why someone will feel this way. A young, hungry, up and coming rapper in Nas was just able to craft such a phenomenal debut album. Doing this on your first try is just phenomenal. And there's other rappers that have done great jobs on their debut albums, but this is probably one. If somebody was to make a list of the greatest debut hip hop albums of all time, this is more than likely going to be number one, and rightfully so. I would say Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg, but maybe debut albums is another video for another day. Like and comment, and if y'all believe that's something I should get into. But to continue, this album is not that long. Doesn't have that many tracks. I believe it's 10 tracks, and one of the tracks includes the intro. That's just a little piece. It's not even like a real song for real. So it's really 9 tracks. So for an album that has limited amount of tracks to still be so highly regarded, to be dubbed one of the greatest albums of all time, it speaks volume. That goes into the production that was put into this album. Watching like documentaries about how this album was crafted, and it was really like crazy how many different producers kind of just all linked up to help produce this album. This is one of like the biggest albums like before. Okay, what I mean is this is one of those albums where most albums previously had like one main producer, like for the whole album, or maybe somebody else would come in for a few tracks, but this one is had like, it was almost like every song had a different producer, and that was really different for its time. Some producers are very kind of stingy when they get to certain artists, but everyone kind of just linked up to him and kind of just like put their hands up in the air, giving their energy like Nas was Goku. And this album is definitely a super spirit bomb because of the huge impact it will have in hip hop. Now, let me get into some of my favorite songs on the album, and easily my favorite song off the album is NY State of Mind. Everything about this song is perfection. From the rapping performance from Nas, how he starts off, and when I say he was just hungry as an artist, as a rapper, this song ain't too late what I'm saying. He's just like going in with his rapping, and then you get this production from I believe it was DJ Premier on this song, and I just love this beat as well. Like when I was younger, this is like one of my favorite beats to rap over. I don't care if it's like an older beat and it's kind of slow compared to what other people like to rap on. This was my one. If I feel like I could go off on any time I heard this beat. But anyway, the combination of the perfect beat, one of the perfect beats in hip hop, compared to exceptional rapping from Nas, came together to form, in my opinion, the best song on the album, hands down. Now, one of the next songs that I love is Halftime. Just definitely a very fun song. Great rapping performance. The production is more upbeat. Definitely feels like, I love the video because he's in a basketball court, and it's just like, it definitely one of those songs that feels like a hoop session should have like back in those days. Another great song is The World Is Yours. Easily, again in the same boat of Halftime. It's just like, I don't know how he was able to make he can like on a switch, he could go from like hungry, grimy type of rapper to like, on the, I guess with that type of production, it puts him in that mindset, and then the other songs will be more upbeat and just like I don't know. It's just crazy how he's able to. It's just great rapping on these songs. I don't know what else to say. I'm just like going on in circles. Um, Another great song is Life a Bitch featuring AZ. And AZ was rapping his damn ass off anytime him and Nas was on the same track. So definitely great rapping performances for both. But a lot of people say AZ washed him. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be put no sense into that fight. But definitely excellent for both of them. Um, I definitely think this is one of the best albums from that year. Um, do I think it's the best? No, and I'm okay with that. Me being like in the minority in that. I have two. I have not just Scarface album is ahead of it. I have another album ahead of it as well, but we will get to that later in this same video. Now, I kind of lied. I said I was going to talk about another one, my second favorite 1994 hip hop album that I think is better than Illmatic, but it's actually right now is this album right here, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music by Outkast, released April 29th of the same year. Now, this is biased, of course, I understand, but the performance and the hunger and the potential that is just stemming from this album by Andre 3000 and Big Boy cannot be disputed. This is one of my favorite Southern rap albums as well. And I think what I love about this album is it doesn't show where they would go with the albums because they went so many different directions with the album later, but it's kind of like the part one of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, where this is the foundation. This is where everything grew from, and if this didn't work, you could tell it was going to be a wrap for them. But it also shows that they had a lane they could have stuck to, because this album is such a quintessential Southern album. Like, they were in a very great pocket, and for a lot of old heads, when it comes to hip hop, this is their favorite Outkast album. They don't like where they took it in different directions, and they could have been very successful staying in this direction, but they chose to experiment. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this album right here. And before I talk about this album, I gotta talk about how they was able to make this album, and that's because in 1993 they were on LaFace Records, and every year around Christmas time, LaFace Record puts out a Christmas album, and every one of their artists has to make a Christmas song. And they were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's where they're like, let's just make a song about like what we do during the holidays, And it's not really about Christmas, but they just do stuff like, they get their bread up, they still hustling, they can't really do nothing. So that's where they got the idea to make Players Ball, when all the players come through and, everything is just cool. They still on the grind, but they kind of flexing. It's just a great vibe to be around. And what I love about Players Ball is that the way they made it a Christmas quote unquote song is in the beat. If you hear it, sleigh bells are going off the whole time. And it was just an interesting way that Organized Noise was able to produce that song. So shout out to them. Definitely one of the great producers of a group of producers of all time. And rest in peace, Rika Wade. And with Players Ball, it was such a great song. It was so big, and then LaFace was like, oh yeah, no, y'all got it, y'all can make an album, go ahead, make the album. So they got to work crafting this phenomenal piece of work right here. So with this, just everything about it is just great, just from the intro to one of my favorite tracks they have on here, Ain't No Thing. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Something very simple, but like the hook just is very infectious, just like many Southern albums. Southern rappers are just great at making hooks that just stick to you, like stick to your bones, like just great food, something just great for the soul. And Ain't No Thing, a great rap performance. Then you get into Players Ball, which was again a great rap performance that has many great verses on there, from both Andre and Big Boy. Then you get into the title track, so the playlist of Cadillac Music. Again, it's just something simple, but it just sticks to you. Just that Southern playalistic Cadillac funky music. And players, if you choose it, you gotta make sure you're gonna use it. We're gonna get you. Ah, just like that hook is just great, and both of them rapping their asses off. And then one of my favorite lines that I just like, with hip hop, when it's a really great lyricist and you kind of miss out on a bar that you don't really understand. On this song, after finally clicking like about maybe 6 years ago, that boy Andre said, "We ain't braille, but we bumping." I was like, "Holy fucking shit, wow, yo!" Like that is just like the ingenuity when it comes to rapping. It's always gonna be near and dear in my heart. But again, Andre and Big Boy were just spazzing, and then you get into songs. Before we get into one of my favorite posse because of all time that's on the album, I gotta talk about the interlude "True Dat," performed by Big Rube. Big Rube is part of Goody Mob. He's part of Dungeon Family, which they're all under, and he's a always. This is not the first time he's going to be performing a spoken word piece on an Outkast album, but this is definitely highlighting where he was going to take it because he has an even greater one on the next album. But that's neither here nor there. A great interlude performed by Big Rude. That gets into one of the next track I want to talk about is my favorite posse cut from them all. Is Get Out, Get Up, Get Out, and this is between them and Goody Mob. Starts off with a phenomenal verse from CeeLo Green, and he really just sets the song off. And it's just like, I don't recall ever. Oh no, oh, messed up. I messed up. Every day I just lay around living life like a bum. And just like, he gets into a real song where he's just like, he's just down on his luck and he knows he wants to literally get up, get out, and wants to make something out of his life. And that's a song that many could relate to. And everybody is going crazy on this. Big Boy spazzing, everybody just does a great performance. But one of my favorite lines comes from Andre again, where he goes, "They're telling me to get up, go out and vote, huh? Why? Ain't nobody black, nothing but crackers, so why I gotta register? I'm thinking of better stuff to do with my time. Never smelled the aroma of diploma, but I write the deep ass rhymes." And you know, that mindset about voting is not the brightest, of course. I understand that. But you could see why someone of that background would think that way. And I think it'll just perform excellently. Um, Another great song off of here is Crumbling Herb. It's just a very smooth, lush song, and it's just a vibe. It's just everything is just has you floating, just laid back and just want to chill type of music on Crumbling Herb. And then the album closes with Players Ball Reprise, and beat is more up the production is more upbeat and just kind of closed. They're not really rapping on this song for real. It's just like, just putting the bow on this album to finish up. um I would say this is a 9 out of 10 album, I think. But I don't know, I feel like it's really close to 10 in my opinion. This is definitely, it's like top 3 for me when it comes to Outkast. And that might, again, I recognize my bias. I understand. This is my favorite rap duo. Both of them are in my top 5. And I'm okay with that because it's my video. And I'm going to say how I feel. Now, the next album I'm going to talk about is Dummy by Portishead, released August 22nd, 1994. Now, I have to talk about this album because this is a recently became one of my favorite albums from 94. So to get into the background, 2 years ago, I was on the film set with my friend and having a conversation with another actor in the film, and we're talking. He's telling me about this group, and he was telling me how the lead singer from the group was on Kendrick's Lamar album, Mr. Morale the Big Stepper, on the song Mother I Sober. I was like, okay, that's really cool, yada yada. And we was having a great conversation. I wanted to check in with them, but like completely forgot about the group. Everything just went away. And that was like earlier 2022. Around August, I with my friend helping on this film, and there's a scene we have to go to LA for a certain studio, and on the road there, they play. He has one of my favorite songs on the album, the best song on the album, one of the most perfect songs I've ever heard. in Glory Box, and I was just like immersed by it, amazed by it. And I'm the type of person where I hear a song somebody's playing, sometimes I'll ask who it is, or sometimes I'm just going to like just have that Google Play joint, the Google search sounds song search on, and I'm just going like sneakily take it like a 90s producer. But as soon as I found out it was from them, everything clicked. I was like, oh, this is what old boy was talking about. And old boy is Marco. So shout out Marco for putting me on Portishead. Definitely one of my favorite groups as well. But anyway, with Dummy is just it's just a phenomenal album. What I love about this album is the level of production. These people are from the UK, and they are probably one of the predecessors for the genre of trip hop. And it's because like the production is like, they're really like sampling, like they have to be fans of hip hop with the use of how they sample songs and interpret inter inter like add on different parts of songs to their music, and it's just crafted so well. Every beat on here is just phenomenal. And then when you match that with the singing performance, and it's just it just everything makes you float on this album. And from that moment from 2 years ago, like songs on this album stay on my playlist, and I can always spin this album. I spin this album at work constantly. um Man, who could blame me when you start off with the song Mysterions, and it's just like from that point on you realize, oh, I'm going on a trip. I'm going on a journey. This is not just a regular listen. This really immerses you into the music. And that's just one of the songs. Another song, Sour Times, is great. Wandering Star is beautiful. Numb is great. My second favorite song on this track, Roads, and it's just the way she's just singing compared to like the cold, eerie production is just like, it feels so hopeless. And I never felt such like hopelessness in a song like this. It's just, holy fuck. It's just phenomenal music right here. And then you get into the best song on this album, In Glory Box. Everything about this is perfect. Everything just draws you in and makes you want to listen to more music from them after you hear this song. When you start off, when you have great vocals coming on from the artist, and then you have the production that's just like, this is it. This is peak. This is peak right here. I can't even say any more words. This is, oh my god. I put this, like, when I talk about my favorite songs from each of these projects, each of these albums I'm going to be talking about, this is probably, I want to say number 2 or 3, maybe. I don't know. There's so many great songs, but like, this is just off pure performance. This is just, y'all just have to hear it for yourselves. You literally have to hear this for yourselves. All in all, this album is a 10 out of 10. Easily one of my favorite albums that someone has put me on to. And like I said, I spin this constantly, so definitely check this out. Like I said, 10 out of 10. Mwah. Now, the last album I'm going to be talking about is Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G., released September 13th. Definitely, again, one of the greatest debut albums from a hip hop artist of all time, highly recognized, and rightfully so. This album has such an excellent rapping performance from Biggie, from a storytelling perspective, from lyricism, just from his flow, his cadence. He has a lot of charisma coming off just how he is on this album, and that's matched with great production, mainly produced by Kumo D, and everything's just fitting. And what's interesting about this album, how it starts just for the intro going on, and towards the middle of it, it's his birth, and then you get into like somebody kind of talking about how he's doing bad as a youth, things like that, and then you get to the first real track and things done change, and this is just excellent. Every, like I said, productions on all-time high. And with this album, what I found really interesting was the amount of times they sample West Coast artists. During that time, there's, the East was, very, we're the best, we're the creators, yada yada, and very kind of offish with, any other artist from any different region. But he definitely fucked with the West, and definitely, I guess I want to believe he definitely kind of like nudged the producer to add more to that, and kind of to get into what he wanted in his album. And just with him, little parts of Dr. Dre saying from one of his songs from the Chronic, things done changed. Everything about this is just a phenomenal track. Again, iconic lines are in this song as well. This is just a really great song. And then this continues the great 4-track run that goes on from Things Unchanged into my favorite song on the album, and that's Give Me the Loot. And that boy is just going off. Again, crazy flow. I love the hook. It's very simple, but there's something just infectious about give me the loot, give me the loot. I'm a bad boy. Give me the loot, give me the loot. And one of my favorite parts of the song is a little snippet after his second or third verse, and then the snippet goes, hey bitch, give me your money, bitch. It's goofy, but everything about this is just like infectious, in your face. It's just like, it just definitely one of those songs that just gets you in a certain mood. And that goes into Machine Gun Funk, another one of my favorite songs. Honestly, this album is very top heavy in my opinion. I feel like all my favorite songs are at the top, and kind of like the cuts, like the popular songs are kind of towards the bottom. And I'm not really a fan of those types of songs, but I could mention Juicy and Big Papa. Like, they're cool, but all my songs came out at the top of the album. And then Machine Gun Funk is just, just everything's just great about this. And then that goes into the last track of the 4-track run with The Warning. And starting off a song like, who the fuck is this paging me at 5:36 in the morning, crack of dawn, and now I'm yawning, wipe the crust out my eye. And it's just like, he was able to just get into a pocket that not many I don't think any rapper could replicate the pocket he was able to get into. He was very masterful with it, and that goes into all the songs he created. And again, great storytelling going in. He really gets you locked in just because of how he's saying it, and the pace, everything just fits perfectly. Everyday Struggle, another great song. Probably the best storytelling song on the album, Me and My Bitch, very Bonnie and Clyde-esque, but even darker. And how it ends is just, I don't know, it's just a very grimy song. But the way he starts his song, everyone that's heard this song knows how he starts it. Why did he say that? Why did he say that? He did not need to say that. That was unnecessary. That's just like, there's so many different things he could. Why he did? That's neither here nor there. Again, great song. One of my problems with the album, and some other albums as well, is the fuck me interlude. I'm sorry, but if people think watching sex scenes in movies or shows is bad and it's never good, there's nothing worse than having to hear sex on a song. That's way worse. It's just more annoying. It's unnecessary. Why? Just why? Who wants to hear? Who is requesting this? I need to know, because you're wrong. You're dead wrong. But anyway, well, like I said, Big Papa hit, Juicy hit. One More Chance. I don't like this version. I like the Mary J. Blige remix version better. That's with him. There's some other good songs on here that are cool. Like, you could just like kind of just write out the album. But the real best, like I said, the bottom half of this album is not much to me, but how he closes the album with Suicidal Thoughts, that's the one. That's greatness. But if you know anything about hip hop, he kind of got this idea from Scarface. Scarface did this. The song ends with him dying, uh, way before him, in his first album, Mr. Scarface is Back. So definitely um tap into more albums from them artists, but that's neither here nor there. Ready to Die is a great album. Some people think it's perfect. Some people think it's a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna give it an 8. And that might be controversial, but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna stick to it. It's an 8 out of 10 in my opinion. Now, I didn't want to rank these. I just wanted to kind of go over through their chronological order when they released. Honestly, I really wish I was around, born during that era, just so I can experience what it was like when all these albums were out, because I know it had to be an amazing time. Um, an honorable mention that barely missed the cut was Dookie by Green Day. It has two of my favorite songs from them on that album, and it's a good album, but it's just a little off, just a little off. Now I have to ask, did you agree what I said about these albums? Do you have any other albums that you love from 1994, or did you have any different ratings of these albums as well? Let me know in the comments. Again, like and subscribe for we can grow the channel, Doxaholics. We have a goal of 500 subscribers, so again, help me, help you, help us grow into the channel that we're supposed to be. This has been Rorvis Reviews. I'll see y'all again for another episode. Until then, peace.